Do you ever wonder how a non-destructive meter sees into materials? We've got the answer for you. Hi, Chuck Boutall here with another When It Comes Down to It. I'm here with Tom Laurenzi from Delmhorst, the CEO, and we're talking about non-destructive moisture meters and testing and using them. The first thing we always wanted to understand is exactly how does a meter, Tom, see into a wall, a non-destructive? Does it send out a radio wave, or what does it actually send into the wall?
So the way these meters work is that a radio frequency signal is sent into the material. The deeper that signal goes, the weaker it becomes. So in effect, it's reading the moisture closest to the surface.
Gotcha.
Which makes them useful for taking quick surveys of an area to find out where your high moisture spots are. The signal goes into the material. It's generally a clean signal that comes back as long as you haven't made contact with electrical boxes or wires or any other material that will affect the response of the meter on that material.
Gotcha. So it's actually kind of looking for the density of the material, because I guess as you got the pores filled with water, the water actually changes, obviously air being less dense than water, it changes the density, and that's what the meter actually is looking for.
That's right. It operates on the principle of the relationship between the moisture content and the density of that material.
Oh, okay, excellent. Now, the second thing that we always talk about with moisture meters, and is really important, is actually physically how to use them and what can cause bad readings using any of the scanning and that's one of the things I would actually like to say. We're saying the word non-destructive, and the reason why we're using non-destructive is because these meters do send in a radio wave, so technically they do invade into the material, but they are non-destructives. So it does send in a signal, so we do call it non-invasive or scan in the industry, but non-destructive is the best way to describe it. So with a non-destructive meter, the most important thing, obviously, is to hold it, firmly on the material?
That's right, Chuck. You want to make good, firm, positive contact with the sensor on the material. Air gaps, believe it or not, will affect the reading somewhat, so it's important to make good, clean contact. Ideally, they work best on surfaces that are really smooth. Anything that will be rough, of course, will have some more air gaps. And as I said before, you want to make sure that you're not in contact with anything behind that wall or behind the structure that will affect the reading.
Yeah, because you get metal wallpaper, metal foil-backed wallpaper, metal wall studs, electrical, like you were talking about. One of the other big ones, too, when we use these meters on concrete, one of the things we want to make sure of is that our concrete surface is smooth, but we don't have a lot of floor leveling compounds or old adhesives or anything like that that we're also reading besides the concrete.
That's right. There are certainly a lot of variables in the concrete that will affect the reading from one job to the next. So, in effect, you're using the meter and setting the standard for that particular job before you move on to the next one.
Excellent. And one thing about concrete, folks, remember, ASTM now has a designation out there for your concrete comparative testing. Now, that's not an ASTM standard test, as it doesn't give you the moisture content of the concrete, but it is a comparative standard to other concretes. And one of the things I've always been taught about this is that when we have multiple different pores of concrete and ages of concrete, I was always told it greatly affects the meter, but I understand now not as greatly, but we need to be concerned with that.
That's right. Like all the aspects of using a meter, keep in mind that the meter is a secondary method of measuring the moisture or measuring moisture content or moisture levels. So you want to understand that there are variables, no matter what material you're testing, that will affect the readings, that you should at least understand and know what the ramification of those variables could be.
So obviously what you need to do is learn your meter, learn its limitations like I always talk about, and make sure that when you're testing, you've done enough research so that when you're coming up with the numbers and you're going to write them down and present them to people, they're good, clean, accurate numbers. That's what we're looking for in the industry. And again, remember, it is a comparative standard, not an actual moisture content when it comes down to it on concrete itself. So Tom, because we kind of lump them all together in a group of non-destructive or non-invasive meters, are they really all the same, or is there a variation in how people do the readings?
Well, Chuck, that's a good question. They operate on similar principles. They're all non-destructive, as you say, but they don't work exactly the same. So it's important that you understand the features and functionality of the particular model and particular brand that you're working with, so you understand how it performs under certain conditions. For example, even within the same brand of meter, the ProScan here is a tuned capacitance circuit that's meant to accurately measure the moisture content of wood and give you relative readings on non-wood materials, whereas a meter like the TechCheck is ideal for quick surveys to help you find out where your high moisture spots are.
Well, that's great. Tom,
Good,
I'd like to
good.
thank you very
Thank you,
much for
Chuck. Thanks
stepping
for
in
having
today, and we appreciate it. Thanks to C&R Magazine for distribution of the content, and thank you for learning with rtilearning.com.
All right, this is When It Comes Down to It, episode November 2022.
When it comes down
Yeah.
to it, comes down to it. Yeah. Let's do it.
Beat your feet on the Mississippi mud, huh? There you go. That's what he's got that rhythm going on. All right. Hello, Chuck Boutall here with another When It Comes On Down to It. This time we're just...
Oh, he did it again.
There we go.
Comes on down to it.
Oh, you got another one, man. Another blooper. Like I said, I can't even get it out.
All right, Chuck, I want you to tell Tom the dumbest joke you know.
Oh, as a blooper?
Oh, God. Okay. Let's see. Well, we got to do a restoration joke then. What the hell was the one I had the other day that was hilarious? It was, oh, Bud, you got me a bad joke.
So
The problem is I got to have a clean one, man. That's tough.
you got to show me that video from April Fool's again.
Yeah.
That'll...
Let's do the blooper after lunch. I got to think about that.